at Fanatics. It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means another episode of Home Theater Fanatics Live. Tonight is episode 156, and we have an episode that I'm really happy to have today. I mean, I'm super excited about this one because we've got Mark and Liz from Axpona. And if you guys know me, you know I love the shows, and the show is happening, and I'm so excited about it. So, Mark, Liz, welcome. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having us here.
Hey, Jiles.
Absolutely happy. So I think maybe to get things started, let's do some introductions so kind of people can kind of understand, who you are and what you do in relation to the show and all that kind of good stuff. And Liz, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're affiliated.
Okay, so I'm Liz. I'm the event director for the show. So I work on the show experience, the marketing, getting the word out. I put together the seminars, kind of giving like a tease into everything with the show. But I basically put together all of the show features to make it, really exciting that complement what Mark does, which he'll talk about in a minute as the exhibits. But yeah, I'm behind the scenes kind of making everything happen.
Right on. And Mark, how about yourself?
I have the fun job. I talk to all the exhibitors. I talk to all the exhibitors and all the brands from around the world. I get up early when I have to talk to Asia, or stay up late when I have to do that, or Europe, and it's really a lot of fun to talk to all these different brands and exhibitors and get them to do Axpona.
Right on. And there might be some people out there saying, what are they talking about? What's an Axpona? So I think maybe that's the next thing to cover off on, what, when, where is an Axpona, right? And what does Axpona really mean?
So Axpona is actually means Audio Expo North America. So that's where the name came from. And it's an audio show. So it's a show open to the public to go check out audio gear, like everything from like loudspeakers, records, turntables, everything that you need to hear music and also buy music. And it's really for everyone who just loves music and loves gear to come together and see all this stuff live and in person.
Right on. Now, is it what people would consider to be like the classic 2-channel show? I know you guys do a lot of headphone hi-fi kind of stuff, Headspace or however you want to refer to it. Is it still falling into that vein, or are you getting into multi-channel, or is it still kind of the big 2-channel show of the year here in the U.S.?
Mark,
certainly, we have, well over 100 rooms of 2-channel, everything from loudspeakers, to electronics and such. But, we also have other areas, like we have, what we call the ear gear experience that has
cool ear gear.
The Hi-Fi Man and Audeze and all the personal listening type of equipment as well. And then of course there's another area that we call it the expo hall, where you'll see a lot of vinyl, you'll see reel to reel, and so it's really everything audio. Really the show is Audio Expo North America is actually the perfect name, even though we're Axpona, but it's everything audio for anybody that loves vinyl to streaming to headphones to in any way they want to listen to music.
Right on. And you said there, and we're kind of getting into the topic now of what's going to be exhibited at the show. But so let's just take a step back. So when is the show going to be? It's going to be April.
It's April 22nd through 24th.
Right. So that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Cool.
Open all day.
And
and it's in Schaumburg, Illinois. So it's right outside of Chicago. So it's, middle of the country, pretty easy to get to from everywhere.
Right on. And so you fly into O'Hare?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, generally you fly into O'Hare.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So April, Chicago-ish area, easy to get to because it's a huge hub there. Flown through Chicago many times. But back to the exhibits. So you said 100 rooms.
Well over 100 rooms. Yeah. So we don't have a final count yet, but yeah, it'll be that, and it's really still the biggest show in North America.
I mean,
So
if you spend 20 minutes in a room listening,
yeah,
right? I mean, there's
I know,
no
I know,
way. There's
I
no
know.
way. We need to come up with like an app and like, okay, I have to see these rooms and then have it do a auto navigation to get you around. I mean, that is a massive amount of hi-fi gear. I mean, a lot.
It is. I really think the attendees really need to plan. I think it really is helpful that they go to our website and just really just see what's where, and they can really prioritize. I think that's probably the best way to navigate the show. And I'm sure that Liz hears that all the time. From exhibitors. There's just so much, and what do I see first? And I think the press have that same challenge, because they have to review products.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to cover the show while I'm there, and there are certain brands that my viewer base wants me to go check out and talk about and that kind of thing. So I've been going through the list online. I'm like, okay, I've got to go here. Okay, I've got to do this one. Oh, I gotta go do this. Oh, I gotta do this too. And it's just massive, and it's great. It's like being a kid in a candy store, and I think we could talk a little bit about, that leads into what's it like to go to a show and how is this stuff set up, right? So there's, it's at a big hotel, and there's 100 different exhibitors, but where do you find space for 100 different people? I mean, how does that logistically work?
It's a challenge. So the venue where the show takes place is actually pretty cool because it's a convention center with a hotel attached. So you're kind of actually going back and forth between two buildings. And when you walk, if you kind of talk about the experience, you walk into the main building and you check in and you get your event guide and you get your badge. And then from there, you can kind of decide, are you going to go right or are you going to go left? And are you going to check out the big meeting rooms and then head into the expo hall? Or do you want to go up into the tower and start listening to, listening to the systems and going from listening room to listening room? And so that's kind of like when Mark said, you kind of have to have a plan. It really helps to kind of map out like where you're going to start and either, take the elevators all the way to the top and work your way down.
Yeah.
Or you can climb the stairs, and then you kind of, are hungry for lunch or something, but.
Right on. Yeah. And so for folks that haven't been to a show like this before, I kind of break things down, and it depends on the venue, right? But they're usually like 4 different kinds of places that I see. So there's the small room. So, in the hotel area, hotel rooms are actually turned into listening rooms. So the beds will be taken out and all that kind of stuff, and chairs will be put in, and there might be 6 chairs or 8 chairs or something like that in the space, because it's really hard to fit more in than that. And, it kind of gives you an experience of what it's like to listen in a regular room, right? I mean, these rooms are the size of rooms that a lot of people have. So it's very similar, and it's not uncommon for, the exhibitors to bring in some room acoustic treatments and that kind of stuff and set up a few panels to try and get the sound the way they want it. So it's kind of cool. From there, if you flip to the other extreme, you'll have some companies take like a humongous ballroom and put like 50 seats in there, right? And have just these humongous $1 million systems that are just ridiculously cool, right? And that gives you a whole different kind of experience. And then, you have I guess your ear gear space. You'll have like tables with like earphones just all over the place, and you just go to exhibitor to exhibitor. You can check out different sets of cans and stuff, and that's what I really find interesting, because I've listened to a lot of speakers, but for me it's always more difficult to demo lots of different sets of headphones and earphones. So that part I really appreciate, and I don't know if that's just because of what I've had access to personally. I don't know what that is, but I always find that nice, because I just never have access to the selection like you find at a show. Any idea how many different headphone vendors you're going to have? 10, 20, something?
Yeah, I think there's like 35.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's like 30, 35.
Yep, 35 at this point. Yeah, and got a new one today. 1 or 2. Shure has some new products.
Oh, Shure's going to be there. Nice.
Yeah. So
Sure.
Yeah, that just happened. Exactly. No, there's a lot to listen to. what I love about the show, whether it's headphones or some of the great 2-channel systems, is that I think people read about systems. They might read about a pair of loudspeakers, for instance, in one of the industry magazines or one of the bloggers, but this is a chance that they can finally listen to it because they're coming from Asia or Germany or Mexico, and so it's really just wonderful to have like a debut at an event like ours
That,
that people can experience them.
it is interesting because there's a company, and I can't think of the name of them right now, and I really hate that I can't think of their name, but I've wanted to hear their gear, and they're newer, and they're coming out of Europe, and they've got tower speakers that have like this horn that comes out. I wish I could remember their name.
Avant-Garde?
No, it's not Avant-Garde, but it's like if Avant-Garde had a baby with something smaller and it was shorter. Oh, I think it starts with an A, but it's not Avant-Garde. I had them on the show like a year and a half ago, and like one of theirs is like the Contra 4 or something like that is the model name. But my point is, you're exactly right, because for most people, including myself, unless you have access to some kind of high-end showroom that's bringing in these boutique brands, this is your chance to hear things that you'll never ever get to hear again, right? They show at these shows, but if you're not living in Europe and you can't take a trip up to Norway, more likely than not, this is it, right? You don't get another shot. So if you want to really expand your horizons, this is the shot. And there's a maker of record player, and I'm not a vinyl guy at all, so, but they make the cartridges and the stylus, and I have to look and see if they're going to be here. I really hope they are, because I've always wanted to take a look at their stuff, and I think they're out of, I don't know, somewhere in Japan. But it's awesome the way that this community comes together internationally into shows like this to give people access to all this gear. It's crazy. Now, any interesting countries that are going to be represented that you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, sure. It's. I was just thinking when you were mentioning horns, there's this little company, and they've been around actually for like 30 years. They're called Zingali. They're coming out of Italy, and they have these horn loudspeakers. They're just beautiful, and I heard them actually at another show, and they're coming to Axpona, and they're debuting some products, actually some 30th anniversary products. So this is like, that's kind of a resurgence brand. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of T+A, but T+A Electroacoustic is a premier brand in Germany, and they've been waiting really, like, I think 2 years to debut their new headphones. Actually, I think they're called the Solitaire P, if I remember.
Okay.
And so you can look for that, because I know you're a headphone guy. And then I'm really excited about this company that actually this brand out of Mexico called Margulis.
Oh, I've seen their stuff. They are awesome.
Boy, I am so excited to have them. I don't think they'd ever been to Axpona before, and so we're really like cheering them on, and so they're coming on in a big way. So, these are just things that are, that will really get, every attendee, I think, excited and for something here.
Right. Yeah. So I've heard the Margulis before, and they make more than just speakers, if I remember correctly, and their stuff was really, really good. Double A's asking about Perlison. I do believe Perlison will be at the show.
They will be there.
And I had them on this show not too long ago, and I got to demo their 15-inch sub, and their gear is just it's outstanding, and they're a newer brand. And then you mentioned Zingali, and I've heard their stuff before too, and they make some of the most amazing carved wood pieces in their gear. And I have this conversation a lot with people about higher end audio, because some of these things are pretty high end, and they get to be a little spendy. But for me, high end audio is all about the sound, but it's also all about the visual and the complete experience, right? I want to hear the music, but when I see the system, I want it to be visually appealing to me as well. And there's no place where you can experience that like you can at a show. I mean, this is the one spot where you can do that.
Right.
And speaking about experiencing a show, Liz, I think you have something special for people out there today.
I do. So
Oh,
yeah. So for folks who are watching us tonight, we're giving away 50 tickets to the first folks that use a special coupon code, and the code is Fanatics. So if you head to Axpona.com and click on buy tickets and use that code, like I said, like the first 50 people who do that will have a free 1-day pass for the show. So you can check
that's
it out.
awesome. And that is very generous of you. Thank you so much. And if it makes it more appealing to people, I'll be there covering the show, and enjoying it all myself, because there's nothing more fun than going to a show. So I encourage everyone, get a ticket, come to the show. If you're close enough to drive, you have no excuse at this point. Come to the show, and check it out. So when you're at the show and you're bouncing around, it can be a little bit overwhelming, I think, for people, right? Especially if you don't have a lot of experience, because you walk around, there's all this expensive stuff, and you're like, oh man, what do I do? And and you see these people, and folks get to know each other over time at shows, and they're all friendly with each other, they know each other, and you're like, well, I'm the outsider, I don't know any of these people. What are some suggestions for kind of mixing it up a little bit, right? So how can what is there etiquette? What's the right thing? Do you walk in and sit down in the middle of a song, or is it like a play at a theater? Like, if you don't get there at the beginning, you just don't get to listen. What about asking to listen to things? How does all that stuff work? I mean, what's it like?
Well, I think everybody should feel free to walk in to a room. I think the thing that I hear more, and we're all, even I've been guilty of this, is that sometimes you have you get excited about something, and you talk a little too loud. People should try to just remember that people are there to listen, and to just be cognizant of the how loud they're speaking and such, and they can just kind of take some business conversations outside,
Sure.
and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, but you asked some other things, can people take requests and things
Yeah,
like
what about music? Because everybody wants to listen to their own stuff, though. And when I'm there, it's like 99% Diana Krall, and for me, it's not doing it right. I need something different. And after you answer this question, I'll tell some horror stories of my past.
Okay.
It's funny. I think with demoing, listening, with demoing audio systems, I think you do have a tendency to hear a lot of the same songs over and over and over again at a show, and
over
and over again.
Over.
But exhibitors do take requests, and especially now, with a lot of them are, they're working with a streaming service to have that as a source for their room. So you could really request almost anything. And if you want to hear something different, or they'll have a stack of records along the side, and you can make requests. And I think it really makes exhibitors happy to play something that you want to hear. And so I think it's always good to make requests.
Yeah, not too long. Well, I guess it's been a while now, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was at some show, and I'm not going to mention it, which one it was, but I was at someone's room, and they were taking requests, and they said, what would you like to hear? And I said, I'd like to hear Straight Outta Compton by NWA, please. And they looked at me like, excuse me? Straight Outta Compton. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, just search it up. and the room emptied so quickly. I was all like, this takes me back to high school. And everybody else was like, these darn kids. And I'm like, should I have done that or not? It's what I wanted to hear, and I appreciated it. But yeah,
Oh, you
Oh,
absolutely should have done that. And I bet for as many people left the room, I bet someone ran down the hall and like went there for that.
Probably. Because I followed that one up with Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me by Snoop Dogg, and another American classic. And totally off topic. Let's talk about the Super Bowl for a second. So the halftime show. And I'm going way off course here because this is hilarious, right?
Mhm.
So, I watched the Super Bowl show and I thought it was absolutely stupendous. But I was talking to a friend, and my friend said, it was so refreshing because they finally played something more contemporary for us. They didn't play this music, like the Beatles or whatever for the older people. They played something that we can relate to.
Sure.
And then it hit us. We are those old people now.
Yep. I know.
So it's classic music.
Not you, Liz. You're not there yet.
No, this was my music. I was so excited to see Eminem. I was thrilled.
Oh yes, right.
I thought 50 Cent was gonna fall down.
Yeah.
Had him way strapped up. If you remember the music video that he was emulating back then, he was all and now he's just like I'm chunky.
Right. He could be a grandfather, right? He might be.
He might be. He very well. I mean, anybody in their late 40s is old enough to be a grandfather, no problem. And I assume that he's somewhere around that age.
Yeah.
He might even be in his 50s now. I have to look it up and see. I don't know, but anyway. So I think the message that I'm trying to get across is that at a show, there'll be all different kinds of musical tastes represented. I think there are probably some things that you hear more than others. But for me, man, I always am outside of the lines, right? And I'm requesting stuff that I think most people are just like, I can't believe that he would request such a horrible recording or whatever, right? But for me, that's the material that I really enjoy, that I identify with. And I think people should not have any anxiety around asking for that kind of stuff. And if you do, find me at the show and I'll walk with you and we'll go, find some friggin' $500,000 speakers and we'll play some Merle Haggard, or we'll play some NWA, or we'll play some Spice Girls. Man, Spice Girls tearing it up, right? So don't be shy.
Right. But even the things that 19-year-olds are listening to, like Billie Eilish, they're beautifully recorded. I mean,
Billie Eilish. Yeah.
It's so interesting, to listen to on any system. It's the sound engineering on that is just fantastic.
Yeah. And now, doesn't her brother do that stuff?
Yeah,
Phineas. Yeah,
right. which is amazing. I mean, is she the best vocalist I've ever heard? Maybe not. And is he the best producer I've ever heard? Maybe not. But when you put them together, they have some magic, right? Things just come out and I don't want to use the term avant-garde, but the music isn't completely typical, if that makes sense, right? There are interesting things to listen to from her and him. And I think it's really important for people to recognize that, it's the two of them doing this together. She's the one that's out on stage, right? But, they are, creating a lot of art together. And, the stuff that they would do together is really important.
Right. The percussive sound on one of them is her brother lighting a match.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, it's just so interesting. And it sounds great on Magico's loudspeakers.
It's
to name drop the brand,
it's magic. It's magic.
It's fantastic. Yeah, no.
And if you want, Magico's going to be there, right?
Yeah,
they have to be there. They have to be. Yeah, that's their bread and butter. So and that's a great time to hear those speakers because they are pretty outstanding. I don't have it set yet in one day. I'm hoping that Netflix will pick this show up and be like, Jiles, we want you to make the live action version of Home Theater Fanatics Live, and we're going to pay you to travel all around the world to go and listen to speakers and talk with people and do this. Looking at you, Netflix. one day, right?
And we knew Jiles when, right?
That's right. And your show will be one of the stops.
Perfect.
Come to the United States, stopping at Axpona.
Sounds
Liz
great.
and Mark are going to be there, and we're going to talk about a day in the life.
I knew it would be. Yeah.
So now, when the show's ongoing, are both of you on site, just going crazy trying to make sure everything works right? I mean, is that part of your job as well?
Pretty much. We're there. We're there for the whole show. We fly in early and set everything up, and then we're there working from early in the morning till late at night, just making sure everything runs, taking care of our customers, and
yeah. And if people don't know, there's a lot logistically to making the show go off, because you've got everything from people have to ship in their equipment, they have to get there, they have to set up, they have to have electricity, and then they all have to have internet or Wi-Fi or whatever it is, right? And then, am I in the right room? Oh, my room's smaller than I thought it was, or I'm beside this thing and they're too loud, or I can't even imagine the permutations of disasters that come across, little earthquakes that happen throughout the show all day, every day while it's running. So
sometimes
kudos to you guys.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember trying to find a box that an exhibitor was missing, and then just walking and finding it in a random corner, or like making sure an exhibitor has tables, or or even with the concerts, it's like we run around from doing customer service, and all of a sudden I'm a roadie, bringing in amps and carrying drums and stuff. So.
But that's the part you like, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Liz the roadie.
Mm-hmm.
So we should create a meme for you, Liz the roadie, and we could put you in roadie clothes or something, and up on a scaffolding with big, speaker kind of things. What was the wall for the Grateful Dead called? They had some name for it or something like that.
Wall of sound.
Is it the wall? The wall of sound.
Yeah.
Something.
That was great. Those were Macintosh loudspeakers.
Amplifiers too.
An amplifier, right? It was a Macintosh thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a million Macintosh amplifier. It's crazy. Right. Yeah, that thing. They auctioned off one of those not too long ago. One of the originals. It went for some big old bucks.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if it probably still works. I mean, that stuff was built like a tank. Now, we've talked about, I think, one aspect of what the show is, right? So you've got all the exhibitors showing gear, right? You have an area where people can buy things, right? So there, like vinyl sales and tapes and that kind of stuff. Is that going to be on site this year?
Right, and reel to reel.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
What is that company I always see? It's got that lady, and she's from
Zavalinka Records.
Yeah, Zavalinka Records. They always have the good stuff.
Yeah, and she's a very good presenter too.
Yeah. It's very, very good. Glad to hear that they're going to be there. But
Delmark as well. That's another record company that'll have a lot of reel to reel, and they have some rare masters too. But both of them will. So looking forward to that.
Right on. No, that's super cool. But outside of the marketplace, for lack of a better term, I'm sure you have something better, and the rooms, you also have seminars, right?
Right.
So, and what's that all about?
So we have, some education on site, and it really is an opportunity to hear from some of the reviewers in the space, hear from some of the, the folks from the industry. This year, we're also bringing in some recording engineers to kind of give you a behind the scenes look at that process. But the seminars run Friday and Saturday. They're open to all attendees. And so you can check them out. And we've got, Michael Fremmer's doing his turntable setup seminar. So if you want,
cool.
The start to finish, he does a great job with kind of everything that you need to know. And I'm also putting together a panel on room design and acoustics. So if you're setting up your room, kind of how, if you're starting from scratch or you're trying to correct some problems, kind of hearing from an interior designer and also someone really talking about the actual acoustics and how those things come together. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, outside of seminars, there's also going to be some live entertainment too, right?
Yeah. So we've got concerts we have concerts Friday and Saturday night. Friday night is our blues night. So we have Toronzo Cannon, and he's a local Chicago blues guy coming in with a full band. So that's going to be really cool. It's just going to be a rocking concert. And Saturday night we have Lori Lieberman, And she was just in the studio recording a new album. And so she's going to be singing some track, like, singing some of the songs that are going to be on that new album and also some of her older stuff. And that will kind of be like, one of her first, shows back. So we're really excited to have her.
Oh, that's super exciting. If anybody falls out and you have a hole in your entertainment schedule, I've been working really hard on my Adele. So I could come and do like a cover concert of Adele for you, and it might be the big draw that you didn't expect. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, Jiles, if you'd like to audition right now and give us a few seconds of your Adele, you're on the air.
Nobody's bought tickets yet.
How to lose viewers in 10 seconds.
Hey, go easy on me. Oh, you see what I did there? I had no time to choose the choice that I made. Come on now. Jiles is straight out of Compton too. Straight out of Compton. Right. It gets too lit too fast. So let's say hi to some people real quick. I just put Double A up, and he doesn't really have much faith in me covering Adele, although man, I can get up there. I can do it. And he made I think he was making a joke. Yeah, he said Eminem, and then haha, that music is 20 years old. I'm like, it is. That hurts just a little bit. But glad to have Double A out there. We have Nagamani from India. So welcome from the other side of the earth. Glad to have you here. A lot of other folks. Let me scroll up and see. High Five Fanatics. That's me. I'm here. You got Gary from he's from South Africa. So he's hanging out with us. He's here almost every week. So super happy to have you with us. Hi-Fi Haven, he's here in Colorado with us. I mean, there's so many people, so sorry I can't call you out. A lot of Facebook users, and then looks like Brooklyn is being represented by Cruise and RSX. Lots of folks. So if you have any questions, throw them up. But I do want to touch a little bit more on exhibitors with Axpona. Anything new product debut wise that's going to be happening? Anything to be excited about this time? I know we're kind of coming out, hopefully, kind of from the times of tribulation, right? And people are coming out of their cocoons as butterflies again, or however you want to think it.
There's so many things. I mean, Krell has these new monoblocks that people are excited about. I'm going, and then if I can go from high price point to something that's under $1,000, Project has more than one turntable that is under $1,000 that a lot of people are excited about. I mean, there really is so much, that's going on now. There's a lot of new products.
And I'm a big fan of Hi-Fi Man, and I was talking to the folks over there, and I think they're gonna have a secret product that they'll be releasing that I can't remember how much I can say about it, but my understanding is that it'll be released there. I think some details are out about it already, but I can't remember, so I don't want to spoil it just in case. But that's exciting, something they haven't done for a while, so it'll be cool to see that stuff.
I saw them the other day actually, and they seem pretty excited about something. So and I really don't even know exactly. I haven't gotten the demo, but I know they're very excited about something they're doing now.
Right. Yeah, I know Adam, and he's one of their. Yep. Yeah, he was on the show just last week, was it? He was on a panel here, and then Hi-Fi Man was here 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, something like that. So yeah, great folks all around. Really looking forward to seeing them in person again and listening to some of the new stuff. All right. I think that draws us close to the end of our talking points here. Anything else you guys want to call out before we call this one quits tonight? Anything that's just like, oh my God, you just got to know this last little tidbit?
No, I just think there's something for everybody, with anybody's budget, So I mean, there are things that you could dream about, and there are just things that you can walk away and actually buy,
right?
And where your spouse may not be, kicking you out the door, So there really is there's just so much there. And anybody that loves music, should come, and just see it for themselves and experience it from themselves, especially now that things are a little bit better out there, and a little bit safer out there. I think people are just really excited to just get together, and so I think it's going to be a great show. We're really excited about this Axpona.
Oh, I'm super excited too. I've been just jonesing for something this year, and the Can Jam made it, and I think the Florida show made it, but I'm not able to make it to those. So for me, this is going to be the first show of the year that I'm able to make it to. So I'm all just really, really happy.
And I must say, though, those shows were really good. Kudos to the Florida show and Can Jam. I attended both of them.
That was in New York, right? The Can
Jam?
Yeah,
it was just this weekend, right? That's where I saw Adam and many other headphone companies, and it was terrific. And I think people are really excited to get together. So
absolutely.
So we'll see a lot of those people at Axpona.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just say, I think everyone's excited to get back to audio shows. And also, if you've never been, one of the things that I hear when I talk to people at the show is that it's so cool to get together and be in a building with a bunch of people that are also into this stuff, that are also into music and excited about gear. Because sometimes, you might not have a friend in your town that is also as excited as you. So it's really cool just to get together and.
Oh, I absolutely can identify with that. I do a lot of YouTube stuff too, and a lot of it centers around sound and multi-channel, 2-channel, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, there are people here in Colorado. So we have the Colorado Audio Society, which is great, but we only meet once every few months now, kind of thing, and it's been all virtual. So yeah, this is a great time to really get out there and see a group of people that you can identify with. Sure, it's great to do stuff online, but there's nothing like sitting in a room with 20 other people that are just as excited about, I don't know, a $3,000 phono stage, right? And it's kind of a weird thing to be excited about. Sure. You're like, this makes all the difference, because it does, right? It's really cool. All right, Mark, Liz, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show today. Everybody's time is precious, so that you would spend it here with us is humbling. So thank you so much to everybody in the crowd. Your time also is precious, so thank you for watching and joining with us. Make sure to use that code Fanatics with an S. Go get a ticket, and we'll see you guys in April.
Thanks, Jiles.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Right. Take care, everybody. See you on the next one.